Okay, so we're talking about the diet cult and being brainwashed, right? That the diet is like the gatekeeper to your self-worth. They tell you if you've done it right. They tell you if you're worthy. They hold the goals. They tell you if you've made it or not. And then they ask you for money to do it. So you pay them for these diets. You pay them for these rules, restrictions, fears. You pay them for this like weird oversight, right? And it's like having oversight over your delusions of grandeur, right? Which are, I'm more valuable when I'm thin. I'm more smart. I'm like more enlightened when I'm thin, right? That's kind of like what I said in a nutshell. And then you had said, yeah, but what about losing weight makes me physically feel better. Right? And I had just said, well, you've lost weight. How many times have you actually lost a significant amount of weight?
And significant for me, I would say would be 40 pounds or more.
Sure. 20 to 40, anywhere around
20
there.
20 to 40? Oh, gosh. 10 times?
Okay, so you had 10 times of an opportunity to feel better physically, and you probably did feel better physically. Yeah. Was it enough? Was it enough to keep you...
I always had more weight to lose.
Well, for sure. So you never were aware or present when you accomplished the goal, which is if it was for health, right? If it was for health, would you say that each as you were going and you noticed you felt better, that you would have said, I'm being successful. This is successful. My body is healthy. It's healthier. Success, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So because the goal wasn't about health, but it was about, remember the skinny illusion of enlightenment and freedom? The gatekeeper said, you're not there yet. No. So what happens is you feel defeated even though you've actually made progress, right?
Right. And you figure it just isn't worth it.
Yes, and you go to that wedding, to your best friend's daughter's wedding, and there's cake, and you just say, you know what? Screw it. Right? Then you go, then all of a sudden, your behavior is like anti-health, right? So let's just use the cake, for example. You're at a wedding and you're like, I'm going to eat my piece, my husband's leftovers, my son's leftovers, that person's table's leftovers. I'm going to eat all the frosting because you know what? I'll fix the damages later and I'm not going to be at a wedding tomorrow. And what is that behavior doing to your health? Immediately.
Well, immediately your blood sugar is going to skyrocket.
Your thyroid is getting like killed. Your adrenals are just like, your whole body is basically getting tortured, right? So the behavior in itself is unhealthy. And then the consequence, right, is a compensation hormonally with a development of more fat. And now notice how quickly well, I need to do it for health has absolutely no motive.
Yeah.
So, but I want you to understand something. If you truly had that as the number one goal, that you said, you know what, I feel good about myself, right? Let's just say we open the gates. You can feel good about yourself right now. You can have self-worth right now. You don't need to lose weight for it.
All right.
Isn't that awesome? Mm-hmm. Can you give that to yourself?
Yeah.
So you don't have to prove anything anymore. But you know what? We want you to be healthy. I want you to not feel I don't want you to be deprived ever again, because that's not healthy. Do you understand? Like the psychological sense of deprivation is a stress sense that can cause a lot of problems. Then there's entitlement, which causes even more problems. We don't ever want you to feel deprived again. That's the beginning of health. And do you realize if you're never deprived again, if you don't have that feeling of deprivation and you have all access and freedom to enjoy the pleasures of food like everyone should, right? Would you feel the urge to binge?
No.
You're never to be deprived again, and there's no damages that need to be fixed. Would you have the same urge to binge?
No, probably not.
No, you'd probably have some cake and be grateful and enjoy all of a sudden at that wedding, what's the focus?
The cake.
No. No, the cake is the focus when you're deprived. But you can go to any wedding from this moment forward and have the cake. Doesn't matter what it's made of. You can enjoy it. And you can actually taste it and actually enjoy the flavor. You don't have to eat it so fast like you're hiding it. You can actually eat it.
Yep.
So
the focus would be the people that I'm with.
I knew that was coming. I was like, oh, you're still stuck in deprivation right now, aren't you? I let you out of jail, honey. You're not there anymore.
But I may never have it again.
Never again. So now all of a sudden, food is not the center of your life.
Oh, yes. I'd love to get to that point.
But do you understand that the only way for that to happen is for you to not feel shitty about yourself because you have body fat?
Yeah.
So it starts with you get to be enlightened right now. You don't have to be skinny. You get to open your mind. You get to love yourself. You get to value who you are spiritually. And that is more important than the physical body you're in. You can release yourself from the cult. You don't have to follow that belief system anymore. You don't have to hold yourself to that. You're already accomplished. Consider how much of your life you've dedicated to trying to lose weight to meet some social standard or to please your parents. I mean, seriously, how much of your life have you dedicated to that cult? And has it ever really given you the keys to happiness? Has it ever brought you happiness? Ever?
No.
No, just deprivation, self-loathing, shame, inadequacy, and feelings of failure. All because of the context around self-worth. You can take your self-worth and you can leave the cult. You don't have to keep on feeding that. You can just decide, I'm going to give myself the freedom to eat when I'm hungry, physically, and I can have anything I want. I shouldn't have to have shame over a hot dog. A freaking hot dog. Should I feel that bad about it?
No.
No, we can sit here and say it's probably not the healthiest thing to eat, and there's all sorts of whatever you want to call it in that. But you know what? A hot dog every once in a while, do you think your body can handle that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And is having some hot dog going to make your body blow up? No, it's not. So should you eat 7 hot dogs because you just feel like you failed? No. My point is this. So if you have the freedom to live in the abundance you're in, and you can have anything when you're hungry, and it's never going to be taken away from you again, ever, would you feel the urge to binge on it?
No.
I know.
No, you wouldn't need to.
Well, because there's no deprivation. You have freedom of choice. The balancing part here, right? Because you could say, well, where's the boundaries? Well, it's when your body's hungry. When you actually have a physical need for food, you as someone that's conscious, gets the choice of the narcotic. Did you know food is a narcotic? It's supposed to be.
Well, I heard that expression, and yes, I can sure believe it is a narcotic, and I'm addicted.
So is every human being alive.
Okay.
Because food, the narcotic area of the brain, was intentionally wired to the mouth. That's not a mistake. It's supposed to be there. Millions and millions of active sites like this that are wired to the pleasure center of the brain. Should you feel bad about that?
Well, no, I guess we should not.
No, it's like saying, should you feel bad that sex is pleasurable? Should you feel ashamed of that? And scared?
No.
No, we're mammals. We're humans, but we're mammals. So should we be judging a natural, God-given body, an earth-created system that's made for us to be alive? Should we be judging the fact that we are permanently wired to have pleasure with food?
No.
What do you think happens if you do not have fear and shame over food that's palatable and pleasurable, and you avoid it? You can't have it.
Well, it's going to create a desire for it that's stronger than ever.
Yes, it does. because of not only is the brain actually needing that narcotic validation for brain health, but your view, right? Remember your perspective when everybody else in the world has all this abundance. You live in abundance, but you're withheld. You become very sensitive to the emotion of deprivation. And you remember the cycle we just talked about? Deprivation, entitlement. Then there's absolutely zero boundaries. You give yourself extreme amounts of that food, but only because you truly believe it's going to go away, right? So there's this period or space of time between the deprivation and the entitlement and then the next deprivation. What are you doing between this deprivation, entitlement, and the next deprivation? What is going on in this space? Deprivation, entitlement, deprivation. What are you doing between these two spaces?
Feeling guilty.
You're binging.
Oh.
You're like hoarding. You're like those little like varmints out there like hoarding everything because you're going from deprivation to deprivation. Intentionally. Consciously. Because you're judging your body fat as something worthy of being ashamed of.
Interesting.
Yeah, isn't it awesome? Yeah, so, and not only that, but now we've got chronic problems physically because you've been doing this for decades.
Yes.
Decades. Thyroid's been affected by the binge purge cycle. Adrenals, ovaries, well, both of you are done with that, right? Lucky.
Metabolism rate.
Well, the metabolism is something that you actually have, but it's like loose. You have a loose metabolism. I'll explain that later. That's actually explained in Weight Loss Apocalypse. So when you read Weight Loss Apocalypse, things are going to line up for you. Like, holy crap, no wonder I don't need food. You're primed to hibernate. Both of you are. You actually just need to go hibernate. But because of the perception of deprivation, you're sabotaging that deprivation. If you guys actually ate to physical hunger, you both would notice that you are rarely hungry. Doesn't really happen very much. And then when you are hungry, it doesn't take a whole lot of food.
Right.
Whereas one of your best friends who's probably skinny, like crazy skinny, is eating all the freaking time.
Yeah, no kidding.
I know, because she's hungry. She doesn't have any body fat to fuel the system and to turn that hunger center off.
Yeah, it doesn't seem fair.
Well, it's only not fair because you are coming from a state of deprivation psychologically.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
That's why you feel that way. It's unfair. Notice that view. You are brainwashed. Brainwashed.
I sure am.
I am deprived, so I'm going to continue to pay a diet.
Yes.
Because I need them to deprive me because I feel deprived. All right, let's put this into a nutshell here. So essentially what we've got to get you to do is leave the cult. We need you to understand that they should not have your self-worth. Culture doesn't know really what self-worth is. Look at our culture. It's just really messed up, isn't it? What is true self-worth? Don't you think you should decide what makes you worthy and valuable? And do you have to follow societal dogma?
No.
Agreed. So you're going to have to really establish that first, because if you think that you'll feel better about yourself, it's because you're comparing yourself to some cultural standard.
Right.
I'm meeting the standard. If you can do this to love and nurture and care for your body, you're never going to feel deprived again. You won't. It wouldn't make sense to feel deprived. So that's what we have to change. That first. Not this. There's nothing actually wrong with your body right now. It's actually done a very good job. The function of what's been going on is actually in line with what our bodies are made to do physiologically to survive.
Right.
So, all right, I'm going to turn this video off and we're going to keep on going, okay?
Okay.
Thanks for letting me share.